Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the new Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Donatello, from Playmates Toys. My excitement over the new Ninja Turtles continues, as today I'm going to take a look at the brains of the operation, the inventor and weaponeer known as Donatello. Now, Donatello comes on that new Nickelodeon TMNT blister card packaging, featuring the really cool bright purple and greens with the New York City backdrop in the background. The back of the packaging gives us a little bio for Donatello, along with an image of the character from the new Nickelodeon cartoon series, as well as a look at the other characters in this first wave of figures. Alright, so let's take a look at Donatello outside of the packaging. Now, I expressed this already in my Mikey review, and I'm probably going to repeat myself through the 4 turtle reviews here, but I need to point this out every time. The thing that I really like about these figures the most is that Playmates really went out of their way to differentiate all 4 of the turtles. There are no shared parts, so the sculpt of each turtle is completely unique. You can take a look at Donnie here and you can see that he's got a little bit of scratches on his chest there. He's wearing a unique belt that's got the bandolier strap coming up over his shoulder. He's got a lighter skinned paint job. He looks a little leaner and skinnier than the rest of the turtles. And all of their scales are different. So every figure in this line is in the 5-inch scale, but 5 inches is more fit for the humans. All the turtles are shorter, ranging anywhere between 3.5 inches to 4.5 inches tall. So you look at the 4 turtles side by side, you can see that each of them have fully unique sculpts. They're different heights, they use different parts, the markings on their shells are all different, the scratches on their skin is different. Every figure is unique, and I love that. Donatello here is actually the tallest of the 4 turtles, and like I said, he's got a little bit of a leaner, skinnier look to him. He's got the lightest skin tone as well, but it's like a very pale green. He's got the brown straps on his belt, and all of the knee pads and the wraps and everything around him are all that same color brown. So there's really no variation in shading or anything like that. It's all solid colored, but it looks really nice. He's wearing the bright purple bandana, which is his signature bandana that we've always seen him in the cartoons and such. But one thing I like is he's got these solid white eyes, which really harkens back to the old toy line as well as the old comic books. In the new cartoon, they're going to have pupils in their eyes, but I do like that these toys have these solid white eyes. The whole figure does feel very comic booky, even though these are new designs kind of based on the new cartoon series. Playmates also did an incredible job with the articulation on the 4 turtles. There's a lot of posing options here. You can see that his head is on a nice joint that allows for some rotation. You can turn it left and right and kind of roll it around. He's got ball jointed shoulders for up and down and front and back movement, a swivel right above the elbow as well as a single elbow joint, and a swivel at the wrist. He has hinge joints at the thighs, allowing him to split his legs out and move them forwards and backwards. He has a swivel right below the knee, which works as a boot cut, as well as a single joint in the knee. The feet are also nice and flat, so they're not in any kind of battle poses, which makes it hard to stand, that a lot of the old school turtle figures kind of faulted at. So you can really get them to stand up well, you can get a lot of good poses out of them. It's really nice and refreshing, actually, because Playmates isn't really known for high articulation. And I love that they went the extra mile with these turtles here. Now, the belt that he's wearing is attached permanently to the figure. It's a separate piece. You can see it can move it around a little bit, but it is glued to the figure on a side, so you can't remove it. One nice thing about it, though, is on the back, you can see that there is a holster for his bow staff weapon. So if he's not holding it in his hands, you can always place it on his back, which is a really nice touch. So speaking of his weapons, of course Donatello comes with his signature bow staff. Now, just like we saw with Michelangelo, the weapons are all unpainted, so they're just solid brown, just like the ones were on the vintage toys. You can see that there is a little wrap around it, but it's unpainted, and one of the other things that's neat is it kind of is larger at one end than the other, so it kind of starts fat and it gets skinnier, almost like it's made of like a tree branch or something like that, where it's just kind of misshapen. It's kind of a neat touch, because Donnie's bow has always just been the same size all the way through, so it's kind of neat. One thing to note is that because of that fatter end, you do kind of have to slide the bow staff into his hands with the smaller end first, but Once you do that, it does hold in his hands just fine, and you can get some really good two-handed poses out of him, or single-handed poses. Now, as an added bonus, and another throwback to the vintage line, he comes with this little plastic tree that is full of additional accessories. Now again, they're all just solid brown, they are unpainted, but you can pop these little dudes off of the trees, and you've got all kinds of different weapons to pose your Donatello with. So you've got these little bladed discs, 2 of them. You can pose them 1 in each hand, or, mix it up with your bow staff so you can have him throwing this bladed disc and using his bow staff. He also comes with a bladed version of the bow staff, which is kind of a neat little accessory. It looks just like the bow staff, it's got the fatter end on it just like the bow does, but instead at one end he's got a blade sticking off of it, so I don't know, it seems a little more violent maybe for a Ninja Turtle, but cool nonetheless to have. And lastly, he has this version that's got the chains in it. Now again, I'm sure there is an appropriate name for this. The packaging doesn't really tell you the names of all the weapons, so I'm just kind of going off of this here of what I know. But it is kind of sculpted in such a way that it's bent, so there's not a lot of posing options you can get out of it, but it is still cool nonetheless to have these extra accessories for him to use. Alright guys, it's comparison time! Here's Donatello standing alongside his vintage and most notable counterpart. You can see the real difference between the sculpt and the colors used on this new Donatello figure. And here he is standing alongside the Toon Turtles version, also from the vintage toy line, which is a much goofier and brighter, shinier version of Donatello. And then here he is standing alongside one of my favorite versions, the movie star Donatello, based on his appearance in the live-action films. Here he is standing alongside the 2003 version of Donatello, which was one of the other reboots done of the TMNT. And lastly, here he is standing alongside the amazingly cool comic book version of Donatello from NECA Toys. It's really fun just looking at this figure in comparison to all the other versions we've had over the years. Of course, we also had lots of goofy variants of the Turtles, so this is just a batch that I have in my personal collection that I wanted to show off, because looking at them all side by side, you can just see all the different changes that the Turtles have gone through, but even still, you can tell that this is Donatello, and I really love that. I've already said it before and I'll say it again, I'm really happy with these new Nickelodeon versions of the Ninja Turtles. The figures just seem like a lot of fun, and fun factor is a big key for the Ninja Turtles toy lines. I really think this is something that kids are going to get into, and that collectors are also going to appreciate. I think this toy line right here has the potential to really bring Ninja Turtles back in full force, and I would love to see that. I would love all of today's kids to be as excited about these guys as I was when I was a kid. Donatello and the rest of the Nickelodeon Turtles are hitting store shelves right now, so happy hunting, and until next time.